Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. If you guys didn't know, the War Thunder anniversary sale has been here, but finally, we are getting to the big kahuna sales, the Gaijin.net store sales, the pack sales, only so many ways I could really say that, and they're running from 12 GMT on November 6th, all the way to 12 GMT on November 13th. So a week-long sale, and these are 50% off almost every pack on the website. So that being said, in this video, what I'll be doing is I will be going over, obviously, like I said in the title of this, the giveaway, all the details and whatever else you need to know in order for you to participate in the giveaway successfully, as well as I'll be giving a real quick buyer's guide at the end so you guys can kind of know which vehicles I would recommend at least to purchase. Now that said, I do have reviews on pretty much every single one of these vehicles already, so if you type in something like the Challenger DS or the SU25K into YouTube and you just type in review afterwards, you'll be able to see I have a review on it. So it's pretty much everything there is. Now that being said, let's get into the details of the giveaway. So let's get into the details of the giveaway first and foremost. So this giveaway will be running until November 12th, so that is Sunday, November 12th at around 12 EST, Eastern Standard Time. Now, I will be giving away 2 total packs to 2 people in total. So, of course, you'll have 2 winners. Each will be winning 1 pack. Now, these packs can be whatever you want so long as they are on sale, so just bear that in mind as a prerequisite. Now, you might be wondering to yourself, how do you enter? Well, it's quite simple. First, you have to like this video. Of course, 1, that's a common courtesy, but 2, it does also help tremendously with the algorithm. 2, you have to subscribe to my channel. Only subscribers will be eligible for the packs. And 3, you have to comment on this video with your exact in-game username, so any sort of capitalizations, any lower cases, any symbols, anything like that, it has to be exactly as it is in War Thunder, and you have to put which pack you want. So for example, you can get the SU25K, just say, giveaway winner 1, 2, 3, I want the terms T, something like that, right? And that's pretty much it. So again, like this video, comment on it with the pack of choice plus your in-game username, and also of course you have to be a subscriber of my channel in order to win. Now bear in mind, again, this will be given away on the 12th at around 12 EST, so that is also very, very important, and I will be commenting not only on the winners of the packs, but I will be commenting on this video, and I probably will be putting a community post as well, just in case, because I want you guys to know if you won. And also bear in mind, if you are a winner and you do not receive the packs immediately, then you have to go into your account on the Gaijin.net, the warthunder.com website, and you should be able to open up a gifts tab, but I will give more instructions on that in the comments, just so you guys know. Now, also bear in mind, on occasion, there are people trying to scam you in these sort of videos, so if you see anything other than Tankenstein commenting on it, I will not comment on anyone's comment until 12 EST. So if you see anybody that does not have my exact username, they are trying to scam you. I see people like Tankenstein, WhatsApp, like username like that. They're trying to scam you. Do not listen to them. The only time I will comment on anything saying that you are a winner is at around 12 EST on November 12th. That's it. I will not put anybody on a short list. I will not do anything like that. There are just 2 winners of 2 packs in total, and I will announce that at 12 EST. None before, none after. That's it on November 12th. And also, again, one final thing. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe in order to participate. Now, with all that giveaway talk over, let's get into the buyer's guide real quick, and I will be trying to do this one relatively quickly. Again, bear in mind, I do have reviews on most, if not all, of these vehicles that are currently on sale. So that said, I'll just kind of start off on the top left, kind of give it my nod of approval or not, and then kind of move on. So the Merkava Mark II-D. This is a very tanky vehicle. Even for a tank, it can take a lot of damage. The armament's pretty decent, not fantastic, and its mobility is lackluster. So would I recommend it? If you're grinding for the Israeli tech tree, yes, I would. I think it's actually a very good vehicle, especially once you learn where you can start taking shots. That thing can take a ton of damage and not die. So I think it's a very good vehicle, but it might lack the firepower that you might want or the mobility that you might want from a lot of other vehicles. So yeah, I think it's a pretty good vehicle, but it's not fantastic. Next up, we have the Saab J35XS. I like it. It's pretty good, but not fantastic. I mean, what is it, like 10.7 BR? I've got a review on it. It's been a while since I played it, but I think it has flares. If it has flares, you know, if you're grinding out the Swedish Air Tech tree, I would recommend it. But again, it's very one-sided. It doesn't really have much of any close air support capability, and that's one of the problems that you'll find with a lot of Swedish aircraft. They either have good air-to-air and no ground attack, or they've got good ground attack and barely any air-to-air. So next up, we have the Term 3. This is one of the more annoying vehicles that you'll face at around 8.3 BR. I think it's a great vehicle. It's got very little armor. It's a very unique vehicle. It's got a stabilizer, autoloader. It's got a 30mm autocannon. I like it a lot. I would recommend it. Next up, we have the Type 16 FPS. This is pretty much your standard wheeled tank destroyer / light tank in higher BR matches. I think it's really good. I like it. If you're into that sort of gameplay, I would recommend it. It's got a very good cannon. I think it's got Gen 1 or Gen 2 thermals. Again, it's been a little bit of time since I played it, but I do have a review on it. And it's just, again, got fantastic maneuverability. So if you like mobility and armament, but don't really care so much about survivability, then yes, it's a fantastic vehicle for top tier. Next up, we have the Su-25K. This is one of my favorite vehicles in War Thunder. I mean, and when I say that, I genuinely mean it. It is 100% fantastic. This thing, I've got like a 2.5 to 3 KD with it. One of my favorite vehicles. You can attach guns to it. You can attach missiles. You can attach bombs to it. Just absolutely fantastic. Do it all plain. And it is a tank. I 100% recommend it. It's just so good. Cannot say enough good things about it. Next, we have the CV90105 XC8 pack. It's great, actually. This is one of the better vehicles in War Thunder. Again, I would recommend it. It's got a fantastic cannon, got an excellent reload. It's got an excellent amount of mobility. It does not have much armament, or armor rather, but it is a fantastic vehicle. I think it's got like Gen 2 or Gen 3 thermals. So yes, I fully recommend that as well. Beyond this, we have the Mirage F1C200. It's an okay overall aircraft. It can do air-to-air, it can do air-to-ground. I was a little bit overzealous in my review on this. I rated it probably a little bit better than I should have, but overall, it's an okay vehicle. It's got some longer range air-to-air. It's got some closer range air-to-air in the form of Magics. It's not a bad vehicle, but it's just not the greatest. I think it's better than the Milan, but is it worth $35? I mean, if you're going to be trying to grind out the French Air Tech tree, I mean, it's definitely usable, but it's not the best on here. Next up, we have the Black Shark. You guys, if you play top tier, you probably know well about this vehicle. This thing is extremely deadly in the right hands. Fantastic helicopter insofar as premiums are concerned. I recommend it on that basis alone, but I'm not a big fan of helicopters. I would much rather go for close air support, in which case I would take the Su-25K pretty much any day of the week over the Black Shark, but that's just me. Next up, we have the Type 96A prototype. This thing is pretty much a Chinese terms. It's more of a generic terms in my opinion. I think it's a bit better than the terms. It's a fantastic vehicle for the Chinese. Excellent 100%. I mean, it's got decent enough mobility. Not great, but it's got great armor, great armament, and I think it's got I forget which gen of thermals, but again, you can check out my review if you want more details. Challenger DS, much the same. This is a pretty damn good vehicle. It's very slow, but it's got a good armament, great reload time that goes down to I think 5 seconds, and armor. I've gotten used to it. I've started to like it a lot. It's one of the weaker high BR tanks, but I have started to like it a lot personally. So take that as you will, but it is a bit of a weak vehicle, but I feel like some people might like it a lot because it has that excellent reload rate. Next, we have the F4 EJ Phantom 2 ADDW. This is really, it's a great multi-role aircraft, but Phantoms at top tier are really starting to suffer. I can't really fully recommend it because it just kind of gets eaten alive. It's okay, but it's not really a fantastic vehicle. Next, we have the T-55 AM-1. This is a really, really good vehicle at rank 6. I love it. It's got great armor, great armament, surprisingly decent mobility. I think it's got a laser rangefinder. It's just a really, really good vehicle at its BR. This is one that I fully recommend as well. Next up, the IS-6. It's got a better reload than your standard IS tanks with the 122mm cannon. I think it's got pretty good mobility as well. It's got great armor. If you're going to be looking for a rank 5 vehicle, this is definitely one of the better ones, but it's also only rank 5. I think it's good, but the cannon itself is not that great. You're getting a faster reload on the cannon, but the cannon itself is at the BR that this thing functions. But again, it's got pretty good armor and also pretty damn good mobility, relatively speaking. So it's a pretty decent vehicle. I think I gave it like a 6.25 out of 10 probably in the review. Again, I do have a review on it, so check that out if you want more details. But pretty good vehicle overall. Can't fully recommend it, but it's also not something that I wouldn't recommend. Next up, we have the XM1, and I've got an ancient review on this. This is like one of my first reviews. It is low quality, but I have played it more recently than that review. And basically, it's a very fast vehicle. Its armor is okay versus heat. It gets shredded by APF SDS, and the cannon is okay. So it's pretty much kind of like a light tank in an MBT body in a way. I think it's a pretty decent vehicle, but it's not as good as it once was in War Thunder. I think it used to be like a 9.0, and back when fewer tanks had high BR vehicles like this, it used to be a lot better. I think it's an okay choice. Personally, would I recommend it over the M1 KVT? Kind of, just because like this one actually has a much better armament relative to BR than the M1 KVT does, in my opinion, but it is what it is. So, it's an okay vehicle. I wouldn't not recommend it, but again, I wouldn't really fully recommend it either. It's just kind of outlived its purpose. Next up, we have the F-104 STAF. Again, it's decent enough vehicle. I mean, it can go after ground, it can go after air. It's got okay missiles. It's got fantastic speed, but not great maneuverability. Flares, chaff, all that. It's an okay vehicle. I don't know if I could really recommend it for most people. The F-104 is a very divisive aircraft. Again, if you want, check out my review on it, but I'm not going to give that my full recommendation here, at least versus all these other vehicles. Next, we had the Leopard. This is kind of like in the same boat as the XM1. It's a very old vehicle insofar as rank 6 premiums are concerned. It came out, I think, around the same time as the XM1. Very good cannon. One of the best cannons at its BR. I think it can pen over 400 millimeters of armor. It's got a 120 millimeter cannon. I think it's got the DM-23 if I'm not mistaken. It's got thermals. It's got okay mobility, not fantastic, and it's got minimal armor. So this thing's pretty much a glass cannon. I would say the XM1 kind of holds your hand a bit more than the Leopard does, but the Leopard definitely is better, I would say, for snipers, if that makes any sense. Not a bad vehicle. I'd probably get the Leopard 2A4, the premium one, before you get this, but this is still a pretty damn good vehicle. Can't really fully recommend it, especially with the Leopard 2A4 out there, but it is what it is. Next, we have the F4J UK for, of course, England, and it's probably about the same in my opinion. I mean, it's different, of course. It's a little bit better if I'm not mistaken. It's been a little bit of time since I played it in air-to-air, but it's kind of in the same boat as the F4EJ. It just gets outclassed a lot of the time in the matches it's in. Good vehicle. I mean, these are both good when it comes to close air support. Most of the F4s are pretty good when it comes to close air support, just because they can carry so much destruction, so much ordnance underneath. But when it comes to air-to-air, they could be better. Next, the M51. If I remember correctly, this is a very slow vehicle. It only fires heat, which is not great. Got mediocre armor. I wouldn't really recommend it. Again, I got reviews on all these, but I would not recommend it. Next, we have the J7D. I actually think that this got a little bit better recently, or is about to get better with BR changes. It's got a surprisingly good, this is one of my favorite Chinese premiums. And so this actually has got a really decent, surprisingly decent close air support loadout. You'd be surprised, like if you were going for a Chinese vehicle for close air support, I mean, I'd probably pick the A5C first, but this is not far behind. I mean, it's really, really good. And so it's got that. It's got a decent enough air-to-air loadout. I think it's got PL7s, if I'm not mistaken, and also PL5s. They're not bad at all. It's not great, but you can pick and choose how you want to fly. It's basically a MiG-21 BIS, but a bit better in some ways. And again, close air support really a lot better in that regard. So I do like it. This is, again, one of my favorite Chinese premiums. I would actually recommend it. I think it's a really good vehicle. Is it quite there yet? I don't know, but it's a really good vehicle. Next, we have the A5C. I would recommend this actually more than I would recommend the J7D. I love the A5C. Fantastic aircraft, not the greatest in terms of maneuverability, but you can just run in, bomb a base in the air RB, take out some aircraft with the magic missiles or the AIM-9Ps. You can shoot them down with the cannons. Just a really, really good vehicle overall. And it's pretty damn good in close air support as well. There's no smart ordnance, so no guided bombs or missiles or anything like that. But again, very effective in that regard. Plus, you get it at a lower BR than the J7D. So if you have a lower BR, like let's say if you're getting the Type 96A, I would recommend getting the A5C if you're looking for a CAS plane with it, rather than the J7D, just because it's got the lower BR, and it's still at least as good as the J7D when it comes to close air support. If not, maybe a little bit better if I remember correctly. Next up, the Simiua SM. Love it, love it, love it. This is such a great vehicle. It's kind of like an auto-loaded Tiger, but King Tiger, but with less armor. Very good vehicle. I think it's great. It's just so fun when you can shoot, reload, like in 5 or 4 seconds. It's just so damn good. And it's got pretty decent mobility, if I remember correctly. Fantastic. Next, we have the VRCC Centauro. This is a very good vehicle for what it is, in that it's a wheeled vehicle. It's, again, kind of along the same lines of the Type 16 FPS. Fantastic when it comes to speed, and very good when it comes to its armament. Minimal armor. If you like that sort of gameplay, fast but without little armor, fully recommend it. You really cannot go wrong with the VRCC. This is one of my more favorite of the wheeled vehicles, but again, that's also kind of my style of gameplay, so they're all kind of my favorite in some ways. Next, we have the AV-8A. It's pretty damn good. I don't really know if it's amazing, but it's a decent enough vehicle where you could take it into aircraft, grind out the air tech tree. You can go after ground vehicles with it. I think it holds your hand a little bit more than, for example, the F5C, because if I'm not mistaken, this does have ballistics computers, which are obviously very nice. So yes, I would recommend it if you're looking for something in general, but if you're just looking for one thing or the other, there's other options you can do, whether you're looking for air RB. If you're looking for air RB, I would say go for the F5C. If you're looking for a purely close air support aircraft that can also do air RB a little bit, then, I would probably say the A10A early pack. But again, this is kind of like right in the middle. It can do both pretty competently. Next up, we have the Ezra Wiseman Spitfire pack. It's good for what it is, but the problem is it's rank 4, and I think the earliest rank in the Israeli air tech tree is rank 4. Maybe it's rank 3, one or the other. So you really can't grind much with it. It's not that great of a value, in my opinion. Much the same goes for the M51. The great thing about premium vehicles is, like, let's say for the J7D, I'll just use this, but the same applies for literally every premium. You can grind up to and up one rank above the rank that this vehicle is. So, for example, with the J7D, I can grind through rank 8 of the Chinese air tech tree. Now, I can grind from rank 1 through rank 8 with no penalty. And now, most vehicles, let's say if it was rank 4, you'd be able to grind through rank 5 with no penalty. The problem with this is that, if I'm not mistaken, there's no rank 1, no rank 2, and I don't think there's a rank 3 of the Israeli air tech tree. So really, you're just able to grind out very few vehicles with this, because there's almost no base level vehicles for the Israeli air tech tree, which really, really sucks, and thus the value proposition of this is very much limited. Again, much the same goes for the M51. Next up, we have the Super AMX-30, and this vehicle is surprisingly mobile, but the thing is, it's not as mobile as, let's say, the Rucat 105, or really any of the wheeled vehicles, right? So it's one of the most mobile of the tread vehicles, the tank track vehicles, but it's not quite as mobile as these. And the thing is, it still has very much minimal armor where you're going to be penned pretty much anyways. I personally like this because on occasion the armor does work, especially at an angle, and you can deflect some shells, but not all that commonly, right? Like the XM1 has much better armor than this, and the XM1 doesn't really have much armor. So I like this Super AMX-30, but I don't know if I could recommend it. It's just not that great for most players, I would say. but still, interestingly enough, it's not a bad vehicle by any means. It's just, I think for most players, they probably wouldn't like it. Next up, we have the Dora Pack. I love it. For air-to-air, this thing is fantastic, phenomenal, great. Ground, it's not really all that great, but air-to-air, it's phenomenal. I do have a review on that if you guys want to check it out. Cat 105, this is probably my favorite of the wheeled premium vehicles by a good margin, too. It's got thermal, it's got fantastic cannon, it's got incredibly fast speed, and it feels like it's a lot quicker off-road than the other wheeled vehicles. Like, the traction difference really isn't bad when it comes to tracked vehicles. This is probably pretty easily my favorite of the wheeled vehicles for a damn good reason. Fantastic, fully recommend it. M728 CEV, to be honest with you, I've never played it, so I can't say one thing or the other outside of the fact that it is an engineering vehicle, kind of like the AVRE. Both of these I have not played, so I'll just kind of skip them both. They have very difficult to use cannons, especially for new players. That's all I'll say, because that's all I really know about them. Next, we have the USS Des Moines. I actually do have this vehicle, and I do like it, but it is naval. It's got limited value in that regard, but it's actually a very good SL grinder, but for $32,500, if that's really what you want to pay for an SL grinder, Next, we have the TU-1. I do have this. If I remember correctly, it was a very average-ish vehicle. Like, you wouldn't be able to make it to a base in ARB a lot of the time, because you'd be beset by enemy players. You'd be shot down pretty much all the time. When I last played it, which was probably about a year or two ago, so again, don't really take my opinion on this all too deeply, because again, this vehicle is not one that I've played recently, is probably the best way to put it. It's very slow, and it's really good once you make it to a target. It's excellent for close air support if you can make it to your target, but it's just very slow and you'll be shot down a lot. So it's one of the best vehicles at its BR for close air support, and also if you can make it to a base, phenomenal in ARB, but it really just lacks the speed and maneuverability to do much to defend itself, despite the fact that, if I remember correctly, it does have a defensive gunner of some kind. Next, the Ruvalk, fantastic when it comes to long-range vehicles, helicopters. I personally like this a bit more than the Black Shark, the KA-50. Personally do like it a bit more, but, again, it's one of those things, a lot of people, I don't really know if they're going to love it. Now, next up, we have a bunch of these packs. I'll just kind of go over the ones I really like. First and foremost, the French starter pack, love it, fantastic, awesome. The B1 Terror is phenomenal, and to get all of these things, premium account, and this pretty much goes with every of the beginners packs. If you don't have these, perfect time to get the beginners packs. You get 120,000 Silver Lions plus 7 days of premium time and 2 great vehicles for $5. Or with the US, you get it for $250. Phenomenal. Right? So the B1 Terror is fantastic. It's really, really fun. Not as good since it saw its BR increase I think a year or two ago, but still really good. The P40 F5 Lafayette is actually really good when it comes to pretty much everything. It's a surprisingly decent close air support vehicle, at least relative to its BR. I think it's like a 2.3 BR vehicle, and it's pretty decent when it comes to air-to-air. So overall, pretty damn good. Next up, we pretty much have all these. I would almost kind of place them all more or less in about the same category. The French starter pack is, in my opinion, hands above, hands in need. I don't know what the term is, but it's much above everything else. But everything else, you really can't say anything bad about them. I think they're all just about as good as each other. Technically speaking, if you want, get the rank 2 ones. These will grind out a little bit more of the tech tree than anything else, than like the rank 1 pack. So, this is $250, but that's because you get rank 1 vehicles, whereas you can get through rank 3 with these, grind through them. So it is what it is. And then, of course, finally, we have the French vehicles. I've not played these, so I can't say anything about them. They look okay, but that's all I know about them. So that being said, thanks so much for watching. Again, definitely participate in that giveaway. If you forgot to do so, you have to like this video, comment on this video with your in-game username, plus the pack of choice that you have, and also, of course, subscribe to my channel, and then you will be in the giveaway. And remember, do not fall for scams. But either way, thanks so much for watching again, and I'll see you all on the other side. Good luck in the giveaway. Take care, everyone.